bad idea all around. Like, y'all literally did like a Frankenstein experiment.
Right.
And scarred this family.
Well, we posted every Friday. See them corn emojis, then you know wild. I'm a jaded Gemini till the day I die. And I'ma talk my shit, but I don't play both sides. So nah.
This is an update to a very sad situation I believe we spoke about on here before, but I don't think we made it a highlight. But a pregnant woman, a brain dead pregnant woman that is being kept alive by like medical devices and stuff, being forced alive because unfortunately in America our laws are really freaking brutal right now, and they're valuing the baby more than this lady's life, so they kept her alive. And as of a few days ago, the baby was delivered into the world. And this is a big deal in my opinion, because this case sets the precedent of how situations like this will be handled in the future.
Right.
So
is this the first time they've ever done it to this extent? I would think
so.
no.
I think so, because the family objected. So it's just really unethical, because the family stated like, hey, we can't afford to do any of this. The baby, because of how it's coming into the world, is going to have medical problems, so it's going to be really expensive. And like, they just were like, we're not trying to, do that respectfully. Let our family member pass on. And they're like, we can't, because by law, we have to prioritize the child's life. So, yeah, it's really crazy.
Definitely seems like an overstep, but let's see what they're talking about. Because at the end of the day, we can have our opinions all we want. It is what it is right now. And, we got to stay informed. But dystopian is the understatement.
Very dystopian.
The hospital. Adriana Smith is being removed from life support today. Her story made national headlines after doctors kept the pregnant Georgia mother alive until they could deliver her baby.
At the center of this story, Georgia's 6-week abortion law. Doug Reardon is live at Emory Hospital for us. And Doug, you spoke to Smith's family today.
We did, Blair and Carly, and they're still very much processing this. Adriana Smith was declared brain dead in February. At the time, she was pregnant, but she was past that 6-week limit that is allowed here in Georgia for an abortion procedure. And so doctors have been keeping her alive here at the hospital since then until they could deliver her baby, which they did safely on Friday. Adriana Smith will be taken off life support today.
This is so
heartbreaking scene
sad.
in an Emory hospital room as Adriana Smith's 7-year-old son Chase says a final
Damn,
goodbye to his mom.
bro.
Minutes before she's
Like, y'all don't think that, because this could have all been prevented, mind you. Like, she could have chose her life type, whatever, but not trying to cuss because we're really early in.
We're good.
But they prioritized the baby because of the new laws. These doctors don't want to lose their licenses and all that. But I'm pretty sure she would have preferred to have been a mom to the kid she already has. Like, y'all, somebody in the chat said parental consent. Like, she didn't have any choice. Y'all did her so dirty. I can't look
Did
at
her
little girl
dirty.
cry. I feel
Low-key
so
did the
bad.
family dirty, and low-key did the child dirty that just came into the world. Cause it's
Right.
like, dang, bro. I hope that the fathers in their life still holding it down, man.
4 months in the making.
Very heartbreaking. We try to be strong. It's very hard. It's very hard. For me and my family, it's very hard.
April Newkirk, Smith's mother, told us outside the hospital it's still hard to understand. In February, her daughter was admitted to the hospital with blood clots and never woke up. At the time, Smith was pregnant and passed the state's 6-week limit on abortions. Doctors keeping her alive until they could deliver the baby, which they did on Friday.
I named him Chance because I felt like he had a second chance at life.
Newkirk says Chance is in the NICU, but doing well. The story grabbed national headlines and sparked an intense debate about one of the strictest abortion laws in the country.
And I just think this sparks something in everyone.
In a statement, the sponsor of the state's abortion law said, quote, Adriana's family and everyone who knew her are deeply saddened with her loss. Newkirk hopes her daughter's story will keep reigniting debate on abortion, women's rights, and the impacts that laws can have on families across Georgia.
They didn't think about everybody in every situation. They didn't think
Yeah, they really didn't.
about
They
the
never do.
circumstances that happened.
That's what happens when you try to have like surface level objections to things that are very complex.
Yeah.
And then you just try to act blindly on them. You're ended up with situations where you could be in a real hell of a void. Because there's no way that they should be legally bound to make that happen.
Say, yeah.
And
the
then
family gotta come out of pocket for so much stuff. I just feel like if the hospital stepped in or like the state, I guess, if the state steps in and says that this is what has to happen, shouldn't the state cover it?
You would think.
Like,
hopefully they did. They didn't cover it at the hospital?
Apparently not. That's why the family kept saying they can't afford all this. Like,
I thought you were just talking about like another mouth to feed.
That too. So you got to pay to do this, and then the baby. Then there's the controversial conversation online of the baby's survival, because obviously this is not normal conditions for a baby to grow. So
no,
the baby, from what I remember, they said the baby was only like 1 pound. Like, just so people, the controversial conversation is whether the baby survives or not, and what that could do to the future for options. Because if the baby does survive, unfortunately, it'll be used as a conservative, really at this point, like far right, martyr of like, look, this can happen. Like, so even if they're dying, we could still use them and save the baby overall, because the child's life's more important. If the baby doesn't survive, then it'll be a testament of like, see, this was just a bad idea all around. Like, y'all literally did like a Frankenstein experiment,
right,
and scarred this family. So
yeah, I can see that. And I could also just, I was thinking about it, it's kind of also just a testament to how they always pro-life until your ass born. Because now what? Now how much are you going to look out for the jet?
yeah, because she was somebody's baby.
Absolutely.
That's crazy. These people are absolutely insane. Georgia, huh?
Of course.
Delivered the baby of a brain-dead woman who has been on life support since January. They performed the emergency C-section last week. 31-year-old Adriana Smith started having intense headaches while she was 8 weeks pregnant 4 months ago. She went to the hospital in Atlanta where she got medication and was released. The next morning, her boyfriend woke up to her gasping for air and called 911. Emory University Hospital determined that she had blood clots in her brain, and she was then declared brain dead.
Wow.
But hospital officials said that they couldn't remove devices that were keeping her breathing because of state laws that ban abortion after a baby's heartbeat is detected, usually around 6 weeks.
Joining us this morning to weigh in on this really sad topic this morning, our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes. Khalif, nice to have you this morning. So this is interesting. Georgia law saying that a fetus is a person early on, and sometimes a heartbeat can be detected as early as 6 weeks. Did doctors in this case, did they literally have no choice?
That's what Emory believed. I mean, if you're in that room in the discussion, obviously you're having the medical discussion of what to do and how to save the woman. And then you recognize, okay, she's 8 weeks pregnant, and then now she's brain dead. And you start having those discussions. Well, medically, what can you do? But then I'm sure that legal folks came in the room and said, well, now legally, what can we do? We have this new law that's been implemented in our state. We need to figure out, well, what are our actions and what would be the consequences of some of the actions? I would imagine there was a lot of risk management and discussion in there specifically. Can we be sued? Can we be fined? Can we be shut down? What are our limitations? What opportunities can we have? And I guarantee doctors don't want to be in that kind of conversation, but
no, they just don't want to get locked up.
I was about to say, I know he's a lawyer with my ICDC degree. I just think those lawyers didn't want to get locked up, or I mean, those doctors did not want to get locked up or lose their license. They didn't, you know, whatever they say goes, because it's happening all over the country. People are getting let go left and right because they're going based off their morals and not the law. And the law is messed up right now.
You know that old expression about standing for something, falling for anything.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to put your stuff on the line a little bit. Use whatever pull or privilege you got to kind of get your point across. Because, you know, when some stuff just goes unchecked, it gets gratuitous.
Yeah.
Take your bitch for ransom. Yeah, you have some plans, but she not finna answer. For the Gemini, she gon' cut you off like cancer. End of the day, I'ma skate, switch your stance. Ain't no debate, need a plate for the stance. Yeah, I'm about my cape, if you ain't, get your bands up. Hundreds in the safe, they don't fold, they don't fan up. up, playing both sides.